Flip cards is a great way to reveal additional content in a fun, interactive way. Apple has a great example of how to use a flip card for that. For example, if you click on this, it flips the card and shows the other side with additional information, and you can just close it like this. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create this effect in CSS. In this simple page, I have three elements. Flip card, which would work as the container of both front and back sides. And we have the front side and we have the back side. I'm just displaying the word front and back in each side. In CSS, I have updated the body to display some background color and center the content of the page. And I've also prepared a few CSS selectors here. Flipcard would be for the flipcard container, flipcard front side and back side for both sides, which would share common styling for both sides. Flipcard front side is for stylings that are unique to the front side and the same for the back side. And then we have the hover state for both sides. Let's start with the flipcard container. First, I will set some width on the element. And instead of specifying the height, I would use an aspect ratio of 16/9. Next, let's make the front side and back side fill the whole area. And we can do that by setting width to 100% and height to 100%. Now let's set a background for each side so we can see them clearly. So for the front side, I will use background color of white smoke and color of gray for the text color. And for the back side, I'm going to use these colors. Let's improve the stylings of both sides by setting some border radius, box shadow, and center the content. I'm going to set border radius to 15 pixels. And I'm going to set box shadow to these values. And let's set the font size to 40 pixels. And let's center the content using Flexbox. Now our cards are ready to be flipped, so let's get into that. In CSS, we can rotate any element around any axis we want. And in this example, I'm going to show you how to rotate over the x-axis. To do that, we can use the transform rotate property, like this. If we set transform rotate x, and we can now specify the angle here. Let's, for example, rotate this with 45 degrees. It might not look like it's rotating because of the perspective. And what I mean by that is that now our CSS is working in the 2D space because we don't have a perspective defined. And you can think of a perspective as where the camera is in the z-axis. In other words, how far is this element from the screen? We can define that using perspective property. To see that effect, we have to define it on the parent element. And in this case, it's the flip card. So let's say perspective, and I'm going to use the value 3200 pixels. Now you can see that perspective is applied on the element. And this value here means that the camera is 3200 pixels away from the flip card element. And that's why we are seeing that applied on any child element of that element. We can change rotate to any value and we should see the perspective applied as expected. For example, if we made it like 90 degrees, it will look like this. And if we go beyond that, we should see the other side. Let's see, for example, 120 degrees, and you can see the other side. To create the flip card effect, we want the front side to start with 0 degrees and the back side to start with negative 180 degrees. Let's see how that would make them look. Right now, we are displaying both sides below each other. But in a little bit, we're going to display them on top of each other. But let's imagine that the back side is behind the front side. If we want them to look like they are flipping and we're showing the back side in place of the front side, then we should change the rotate x value from negative 100 degrees to 0 degrees and the front side from 0 degrees to 180 degrees. So that would make them look like this. So let's try to change this from negative 100 degrees to 0. Look how it will change. And let's take a look at the front side. So that would be the end state. In other words, that would be the hover state. So let's try to implement that in code. So on the hover state, we would change the rotate x from 0 degrees to 180 degrees for the front side, and the back side would be 0 degrees. And to see that effect, let's add some transition animation. Let's try this. Cool, so that works. Now the last step is just to display both sides on top of each other. And we can do that easily by switching their position to absolute. But first, let's change the position of the flip card to relative. So it will be this, And now for the sides, it will be absolute. Okay, now we have this weird issue. Now the backside is visible even though it's flipped, but we want to hide the side when it's flipped. In other words, when we are seeing the backside of the side, then it should be hidden. And luckily we have a property for that in CSS, and it's called backface visibility. So if we say backface visibility to hidden, then any element showing the backside will be hidden. So now let's try this. Cool, and it works as expected. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments section. See you in the next video.